Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. It's a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Glad you can join me. So I've entitled this class in honor of fill in the blank. Here's why. So in honor of. So in our practice today, we're actually going to be focusing on the forward bend or forward folds. And in yoga, when we do forward folds, certainly they can work our hamstring. So this is a hamstring and leg practice. But also because of that posturing, we're also bowing. And in the posture, we can think of bowing to ourselves as a way of honoring ourselves. But I've entitled the class in honor of fill in the blank because you can dedicate this class not only to yourself, but maybe you want to dedicate your practice to someone else, whether they're living or deceased. And so I think that's a wonderful way to use your yoga practice because it has a way of generating a wonderful energy, a good light, a lightness, and you can foster and channel that energy. So you can use that for yourself as a way of honoring yourself, but also honoring someone else. So as we get into our beginning part of the practice, when we get into breath and just stillness for a moment, perhaps you can set your intention and decide who you'd like to dedicate this class to. So for our props, we will need a strap or something long like a jump rope. It could be a belt, but I've got my yoga strap here. So I'm just going to keep that handy since we are doing leg work and it's hamstring work. We'll be stretching out those legs. A couple of yoga blocks here. Comes in handy. We'll be using these for our bridge pose. We like to use that as a supportive part, but you can use it for anything else, even sitting on them. A big pillow or cushion like a bolster, and of course, like always, something soft that you can sit on and kneel on. That might be a blanket or a pillow even, a towel, or even double up on your yoga mats. So let's go ahead and begin. Beginning with our intentional piece, I like to call our breathing meditation, where we come to stillness and set our intention for the practice. So do find yourself in a comfortable seated position, maybe sitting on your cushion or blanket or pillow. And feel free to close your eyes if you'd like. You can keep your eyes open just by gazing forward or by closing your eyes, just tuning in and moving inward. And then tune into your breath. Maybe starting with a couple of deep breaths. Nice full and complete inhales, followed by complete exhales. Maybe a couple of times like that, just to get reacquainted with your breath, feel the energy of your breath. So very intentional breathing. That's why we're taking these deep breaths. Nice. And then you can just settle into slow, steady breath. But do your best to stay mindful of your breathing. You know, we breathe automatically and it's easy to stop thinking about it, especially if you're breathing softly or slowly. So breathe with intention. So be mindful of each inhale, mindful of each exhale. So that might mean bringing a little bit more energy to it. You can do that by imagining your breath lives in your belly. And when you inhale, imagine you're pulling the breath up to fill up your lungs. And with your exhale, you're drawing your navel in towards your spine. Just a nice light contraction of your abdominal muscles, an awareness of your center body here. And as you're feeling the breath move through you, also listen to the sound of your breath. So produce a sound while you're breathing. And then we can just settle into our breathing meditation. Continue to breathe in deeply. Again, just feeling the breath rising upward. Fill up your lungs and heart space. And as you exhale, draw the navel inward towards your spine. We call this the abdominal lock. Engaging your core center. The function is to keep that energy that rose up to your heart space uplifting, so it doesn't just drop or sink back down. So we create the lock to keep that good positive energy and prana in these upper regions in the heart space. Take 3 more breaths. After the 3rd breath, we'll add a very simple movement. This is our moving meditation. Whenever you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room and just follow the breath, reaching all the way up into the air. And then with the exhale, extend your arms out and let them float back down by your side, completing that first round of breath. Let's do that again. So an inhale to extend the arms out, good reaching sensation, all the way up like you're going to touch the ceiling. There's the in-breath. Exhale, extend the arms out with good energy and effort, floating the arms back down. Nice. Now go ahead and continue this on your own. Breathe and move at your own pace. Move with intention, breathe with intention. So you're still feeling the breath, still listening to the sound of your breath. When you inhale and allow your arms to float up, we're still feeling the breath rise to fill up the lungs. Now, as we exhale, we're drawing navel inward towards spine to keep that core engagement and that prana lifting, yet we are bringing the arms down. Also, perhaps feel the lengthening through the sides of your body as you reach and stretch, reaching upward. Notice the sensations in your shoulders. This might be a nice, gentle, somewhat easy movement, hopefully, for the shoulders, just to give them a little bit of mobility, flexibility, endurance, strength. Now, finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. Go at your own pace. Whenever you are complete, you can just bring your arms all the way down. Let your hands rest in your lap. Just relax for a moment and just notice that shift. Notice that change from a moving body to a body in stillness. While still seated, go ahead and bring your hands behind you. Maybe just prop yourself up onto your fingertips. With the arms behind you, also notice and feel the shoulders draw back as well. This will continue to open the heart. We're creating a seated back bend, a mild one. So you'll tip your chin up just a little bit. Don't strain your neck. Just to create a little bit more space in your heart area. Now here comes the action. You'll inhale, press into the floor with the fingertips. Feel the breath rising upward, filling up your lungs. And again, this might feel quite expansive. Since the shoulders are rolled back, chin is tipped up. And notice a stretch quality across your chest from shoulder to shoulder. Then as you exhale, draw belly in. Now you might even squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Feel that activation of your upper back. So we're adding more sensation to the body, bringing yourself to a greater awareness of your body. Breathing in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage your core, squeeze shoulder blades together. Take 2 more breaths like this. When you're complete, you can just lower your chin so your neck is neutral. Walk your hands toward yourself, sitting up nice and tall. And let your hands just rest in your lap. Just hold here for a moment. So since that was our back bend, let's take a forward fold. If your legs are crossed here, just uncross the legs. You're going to reposition them so we're in cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. So bound angle is just the soles of the feet are touching here and the knees are bent. Now here, you can also use your blocks, or maybe they're hardbound books, or even some small pillows that you can just tuck underneath the legs here so that the legs have something to rest on. And then you would hold on to perhaps your ankles or shins. Now you could hang on to the toes like this, but notice how I bent over to do that. So initially you want to be able to sit up nice and tall, so it's perfectly fine to hold on to your shins or ankles. Now that we're here, we'll inhale, feel like we're drawing or moving straight up, lengthening through the torso and spine. Exhale, draw belly in, creating support as we move. So we hinge forward just a little bit, leading with the heart and chin, forward just a tiny bit. Hold here. Then take another full inhale, still continue to lengthen through the torso at this new angle. Exhale, draw belly in, hinge forward, leading with heart and chin. Again, just a little bit more. Just a reminder, in our soft flow practice, we like to take our time, we move slowly. We don't have to force ourselves into any pose. Certainly don't have to go too fast. And we work at a 60 to 70% level, meaning we don't have to go all the way into the posture, even if you are flexible. Just get to the point where you do feel something, and that something is beneficial, it feels good, feels relatively comfortable, and also you can probably hold it for a good amount of time. So I'm going to hinge forward just a tiny bit more. I feel like I'm at about 65% in this bound angle pose that we've started to fold. Now at the moment my back is relatively flat or long and straight, but you can certainly lower the chin a little bit, even let the back round, which creates a little bit more space, and go a little deeper without compromising the depth of the pose. I still feel like I'm at about 65, maybe 68% of sensation in this posture. Some deep breaths. Now we can even consider this a bowing position. We are in a forward fold. We don't have the legs extended at the moment, but just because we're bowing or folding forward, we can still use our theme and intention, honoring ourselves or someone else. So perhaps bring that other person or even a community perhaps to mind, but certainly be mindful of yourself. Take one more breath. If your back is rounded, just lift your chin to re-extend the spine. Go ahead and hinge your way back up to a seated posture so your spine is nice and long, straight up and down. And just pause for a moment. We'll go ahead and move our props out of the way. We're going to maneuver carefully to our hands and knees. Go ahead and kneel on your soft prop here. It might be your blanket or towel or doubled up mat. So we can have some padding underneath the knees and wrists like this. So this is our cat and cow positioning, where we create a little back bend and a rounded back. So follow me. We'll inhale and tip the chin up like you're looking forward. Think of it as a heart opener. Meanwhile, the pelvis is tipping back. It's an anterior tilt, while the belly kind of drops. And it creates a bit of a back bend. Now exhale with a posterior tilt, tucking the pelvis underneath. Feel the belly button pull up towards your spine. Your back will round and chin kind of tucks in towards your chest. Now I did that in slow motion, but you can certainly pick up the pace as you'd like. As you inhale, feel the pelvis tip back, the belly will drop, the back arches, heart opens, look forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, belly button pulls up towards spine, rounded back, chin to chest. And just continue this gentle flow. Be aware of the movement through the pelvis. This is great mobility for the pelvis, keeping it flexible and strong in this nice undulation through the spine. Finish the breath that you're on and take two more. This is our cat and cow. When we inhale and do the back bend, that's cow pose. Exhaling and rounding the spine is cat. And when you're finished, just come to a neutral tabletop position where you began, like this. Just hold for a breath. Now this can be a potential strain on the wrists, a lot of heavy weightedness on the hands and this forced flex of the hands. So let's do something here before we get to our next pose. Just tuck your toes under like that and start to sit back. I call this half hero. Just setting your hips towards the heels, crawl your hands back until your hands are free, like so. So meanwhile, you're getting a little stretch for your toes, but we're off the hands. You may want to counter stretch or move the wrist. So you're letting the wrist come down and maybe even adding a little gentle pressure. I like to do some pulses here at the top of the hand, not too hard at all, very soft and gently. Okay, on both sides, just to counter this position of the forced flex. because we are coming back to that with plank pose and our downward facing dog. All right, coming out of that, you can crawl off of your blanket and let's set it to the side. Let's come back out to hands and knees. Now, if your hands happen to be directly underneath the shoulders, step your hands forward so they're out from underneath the shoulders. That might take some of the strain off the wrists. Do spread out your fingers, getting a stretch between each finger, and even grip the mat with the fingertips. By gripping the mat, that too will take some pressure off the wrist. It's pretty subtle, but it does help. Then press into the mat with the palms to flatten and open the palms. Be aware of the strength and energy in your straight arms. Tuck your toes under. We'll do one more cat-cow flow. Inhale into cow, looking forward with an arch back. Exhale, round it all out. Hold cat pose for a second. Feel the core engagement. Then with tucked toes, lift your knees, and then hips should lift right up into the air. You'll be in downward facing dog. It straightens the spine. You might adjust the feet. I just took mine a little bit wider. I'm going to do the same with my hands, just slightly here. A good bend in the knees, sending the hips into the air. Let's do something while we're here. Since we're working with legs, let's do a little pedaling of the feet. What I'm doing here is pressing one heel down towards the mat as the other heel lifts, then I alternate. Just pedal the feet. Sometimes I call this walk the dog. So as the heel presses down, you might feel a stretch through the calf muscle. That hopefully feels good for you. When the heel lifts, we're getting a little flex in the toes. But notice where and how this feels throughout the entire foot. Now, this is a long time in down dog. You can always rest. You can come down to your knees and get off of your hands. Come to stillness, soft knees, hips in the air, strong straight arms. Let's take a few steps forward with the feet until they're underneath you, feet flat on the ground, and then just slide your hands towards your toes. This is our first formal standing forward fold right here. It's a bowing position. But we're going to change this for now. We're going to inhale and slide the hands up to the shins or knees right here and hold here. This is a half forward fold. Although we're not all the way down, you can still consider this a forward fold, an honoring posture. Okay? Now we will be doing the complete forward fold again in a moment. But for now, even consider this a bowing position. Feet are firm on the floor. There's a slight bend in the knees. Feel the natural engagement of the hamstrings. That's one thing I like to encounter and feel in this particular pose. Now, ready to stand up all the way. Shift your weight into the heels until your toes are light. You can tap them. Bend your knees and allow your hips to drop down like you're sitting into a low chair. Lift your chest, gaze forward, then take your arms out to the side to help guide you up to a full standing position. Reach into the air. Nice stretch. You can hold that for a second, and then with an exhale, perhaps bring your arms down to your side. Just like that. So here's our first standing posture, mountain pose. Feel free to shake things out. Remember, those wrists have already been doing work. Okay, so maybe a little circle with the wrist, wiggle your fingers. I like to get into the joints, so maybe just a little circle with the elbows. Roll the shoulders a few times, perhaps backward and then forward. Okay, and even down the body, so you might even just shift into your hips, side to side, or some circles, knees, ankles, and toes. Good, and then just return to mountain pose for a moment. Take a couple deep breaths. We're going to go through that half salute to the sun, where we're going to go back to our bowing posture. When you're ready, inhale, extend your arms into the air. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into the imaginary chair. As you're able, go slowly. This is good strength building, actually, in the body when you do move in slow motion. Hands come down, the belly drops, let the head drop. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees. Pause for a breath in our half forward fold. Solid connection to the ground with the feet. Softness in the knees, straight spine. Now breathe in right where you are. This exhale, go back down to a forward fold. You don't have to go all the way down, just bowing a little bit more. My fingers at the moment are at my ankles, but maybe you can touch your toes or even the floor. If you happen to have those blocks or some books, you can bring them in front of you like this for a little added support, just like this. And this will be our standing forward fold.
In Sanskrit, this is Uttanasana. Uttanasana. Ut means intense. Okay? So really kind of intense forward fold. All right, let's get ready to stand. I'm just moving my props out of the way. That same weight shift into the heels. Tap your toes, bend your knees, take that low seat. Even walk your hands up to your thighs. Press into the mid-thigh to help you extend your spine. If the back was rounded, this is a good opportunity to re-extend the spine so that when we finish standing, we're using leg strength and not straining the back muscles. Now just go ahead and press into the floor with the feet, straightening the legs, and then we'll take the arms all the way up. Continue to stretch and reach, drawing that straight line in the body. Exhale, arms down to your side. And again, if you'd like, you can just kind of shake things out. Just check in with your body. Notice what needs to move and stretch. Very good. All right, let's do what we typically do. We do our variation of Warrior One, and we might even add a variation of Triangle Pose, since Triangle Pose is a straight-legged posture that gets into the hamstrings. All righty? So Mountain Pose right here. We're going to put a little bend in the knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Press firmly into the floor with your right foot. Lean forward a little bit. Feel the right foot especially grip your toes, grip the mat. Left foot will be a little lighter so you can pick it up. And I just lifted the heel and just tap the foot back until it doesn't go back anymore. So there's our little lunge. We're going to turn that left leg outward, okay? And then put that heel on the floor and shift your whole body back so you're really grounded on 2 feet right there. So a little slight bend in the knees. Place your hands on your hips. With your hands, you're going to feel like you're pushing your pelvis downward. And then at the same time, you're lifting up through the torso or lengthening the spine. And now with a little bit of space we've created in our center, returning to face forward. Here we're going to inhale and extend the arms out and up. Now on this exhale, bend the elbows to about 90 degrees, so maybe something like this. So this is a variation of Warrior One. It's a lunge, but a very mild lunge, really just a separation of the feet. There's a good centering here. Lengthen torso with extended arms. We just happen to have a bend in the elbows. All right, we're going to add something before we do that triangle pose. Since we're in this position, I thought of something here. Let's go ahead and inhale, extend the arms straight up, and at the same time, straighten the legs. Okay, uplifting with the arms, long torso, straight legs. We're going to bring the arms out to the side, and then start to hinge forward at the hips. Maybe right about here. You can probably go a little further, but not necessary since there's not a lot of distance between the feet. Now, this is and actually kind of reach the arms behind you like this a little bit. This is a variation of what's called pyramid pose. We've done this in classes in the past. So pyramid is, let me show you the full pyramid. You stay where you are. More distance between the feet, straight legs, hinging forward, torso at least 90 degrees, but maybe deeper with the arms behind you. So we really do get into the hamstring. So because our feet are not that far apart, we're just hinging a little bit right here, working the legs, maybe a little stretch in the hamstrings here. Let's shoot the arms forward, soften the knees again. Let's rise up, reach into the air, and kind of open this up sideways like this. Now, because there isn't a lot of distance between the feet, we might need to step the left foot back just a little bit, not too far. Keep the legs very straight, and then we'll do our triangle pose variation, which means we're going to reach out over that straight leg, just angle the upper half of the body, not much at all, okay? And then rotate the arm. So your right hand might just rest at your thigh or knee, reaching. So there is some hip sensation perhaps, a nice lengthening through the left side of the body. The right leg, well, actually both legs are straight, but because of the leg turned outward or pointing forward here, you might feel a light stretch, not too strong at all, for our hamstring stretch right there. Triangle pose variation. To come out of the posture, let's bend the right knee, lunging so we have some leverage, using the thigh muscle to come back up to a lighter version of Warrior Two. Let's drop the arms, turn to face forward. I'm going to just shift my body weight forward into this front foot, Picking up that back foot, little push, so we can step forward, bringing the feet together. Let's stand up tall, taking both arms up into the air. Exhale, arms down to your side. If you'd like, shake things out. So we added a pose there. So we did a variation of Warrior One. We're doing a variation of Pyramid Pose, and then our variation of Triangle Pose. Let's get set up for the other side. Mountain pose to begin. Soft knees, start shifting weight into your left foot. Press firmly into the floor. Let's lean forward a little bit. Maybe an exhale to engage your core so you feel supported. Grip the mat with the toes. Let's peel the right heel up off the ground. Step that foot back until it stops naturally with a force flex in the toes. Turn the right leg out so we can plant that right heel onto the floor, shifting back so we're centered, we're balanced. Soft knees here. Hands on hips, push pelvis down while the torso lifts up. Knees are still bent. Turn to face mostly forward. Inhale, extend your arms up into the air. Exhale, bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Our variation of Warrior One. Nice opening up of the heart. Feel balanced on the 2 feet. Because that 1 foot has been stepped back, just notice what's happening there. Let's get ready for our variation of our pyramid pose. Let's inhale, extend the arms up into the air. At the same time, straighten the legs so you might get a little taller. Exhale, bring the arms down to your side and just start to hinge forward a little bit here. And just notice if you start to feel something in the hamstrings. And just continue to reach back a little bit with the arms. And just a few breaths. Again, because of the short distance between the feet, we don't have to hinge forward too far. Otherwise, we might put too much force or pressure in the knee joint in front. Feel the activation of the leg. It might not only be in the back of the leg, perhaps in the front of the leg too. To come out of the pose, let's bend the left knee, a little lunge. Let's take the arms out and up. Knees are still bent here. Then open up towards the right side of the room like you're doing Warrior Two. Arms extended parallel to the floor. Then we're going to take a couple of steps, not very much. Right foot back, putting a little bit more distance between the feet. But then extending the legs straight as can be. Reach out a little bit out over the left thigh to angle the upper half of the body. And then rotate the arms here. My left hand is just touching my thigh, not needing to go any lower. I'm going to go slightly lower, however, or really, I don't have to go lower necessarily, just even feeling like my right hip is moving more towards my door here. And then I can feel a little bit more happening in this left hamstring area. So a variation of triangle pose. Very good. Coming out of the posture, we'll start again with the bend in the left knee. Little lunge. So we can come back up to Warrior Two. You can drop your arms. Turn to face forward here. Lean forward, putting some weight into this front foot. Let's pick up the right foot. Step forward. Inhale to take both arms back up into the air, drawing that straight line in the body. Exhale, arms down. Very good. Okay, let's make our way down towards the floor here, or to the floor, going through our sun salutation. Whenever you're ready, move with me. Inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into the imaginary chair. Take your time. Use those good muscles. Slowly coming down. Not needing to touch your toes. Maybe your hands land at your shins or ankles. Forward fold. Honoring. Even say to yourself, I honor myself. Inhale, rise up halfway. And then on this exhale, we're bending the knees a whole lot. Slide down the legs with the hands, getting low enough until you can place your hands on the mat so you can start walking the feet back. Take your time. Take as many steps as you need to the back end of your mat. And once you're here, just draw a straight line here. We're in plank pose, just to build strength and energy. Now, bend the knees like you're about to kneel, but then send the hips up into the air instead. And this will draw us into downward facing dog. Ready for the second version of Warrior One. Moving into warrior two, we might even do triangle and pyramid again. Here we go. We're going to inhale and pick up the right foot and extend the right leg back behind you. Don't worry about the height. Just consider the length. Breathe in. Exhale, bend the right knee. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your whole upper body forward so your shoulders are over the wrists, like plank pose, and set the toes on the floor. Heel will be lifted. Set the left knee down, shifting the body weight back so there's less pressure in the hands. Pick up your right hand. Go get your right foot. Grab by the ankle. Stab it up a little higher. This is going to create more distance between the feet. Let's re-lift that left knee. Pivot. Left heel to the floor. See the distance now? Now your palms are probably up past your toes. Walk your hands back to the heel of this front foot and rise up to fingertips. The intention here is to put more weight and pressure in that back foot so there's more balance. Rise to fingertips here, literally on your fingertips, to help lift the upper body, to extend the torso. You can even think of this as a forward bend. But we're going to keep this right knee bent, use the strength of this leg to help lift the torso facing forward. Take the arms up into the air for warrior one. Hold for a breath. We'll take an inhale. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. As you need to adjust your feet, I usually have to turn that left foot outward just to protect the ankle and knee joint. Nice knee bend in front, outstretched arms, warrior two. Let's take this to triangle. Let's straighten the right leg. Reach out over that straight right leg. A little bit is fine. Rotate here. Again, my hand is just at the kneecap. If you can go a little lower, go a little bit lower, but not necessary. You can even come up a little higher. Notice the lengthening quality in the hamstring. We are going to take this to our pyramid pose, but we will come back up first because I'm going to change the footing a little bit. Let's bend the right knee so we have leverage to come back up to a warrior two. So you're pushing into the leg and foot and again, not really aggravating the back. Here, let's drop the arms. Now here's what we're going to do. You're going to start to turn to face forward. Now because of the leg posturing, at least for me, when I turn, I naturally stop and I'm actually facing at an angle. I'm not facing directly forward. I'm kind of out there. So here's what we'll do. You can follow me if you need to. We're going to step this left foot in, just a step, and I'm stepping it towards you, towards the left side of the mat, right there. And then it's going to allow me to really turn. It gives me enough space so my hips are now square, facing forward, just like the front edges and corners of my mat. They're going to straighten the legs, nice and tall. You can keep the arms down by your side. We're just going to inhale and just feel tall. Exhale, hinge forward, and just let the arms just kind of follow the torso until your hands are reaching back. Just go to a place that feels good. Leg is straight. Both legs are straight, especially that right leg, so you feel the hamstring. But if you can go a little lower, perfectly fine, but you don't have to. This is about good for me. I'm right at 70%. It's a bowing sensation. We're getting into the legs. Pyramid pose. Soften this a little bit. You don't have to lift all the way up. We're going to put a good bend in that right knee and use it as continued leverage to help rise up all the way. Let's go ahead and take the arms up into the air too. Right there. Just back to that warrior one-like position. And then fold forward. Bring your hands down to the floor in front. We're going to reposition that back foot. Heel lifted, toes on the floor, more aligned with the hip. Press hands firmly into the mat, strong straight arms, so you can slide and pull that right foot back into plank pose. Let's get set up for the other side. So bending the knees, sending the hips into the air, downward facing dog, adjust the feet, adjust the hands, fully arrive in the pose. Then we'll inhale and pick up the left foot and extend the left leg back. Again, we're just considering the length and energy of that lengthened leg. Inhale again. Exhale, bend this left knee, bring it in underneath you, towards your chest or chin, shifting forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. Set the left set of toes on the floor, heel lifted. Right knee comes down. Send the weight back so your hands are light. Use your left hand to go get your left foot. Pick it up by the ankle, send it forward. Re-lift your right knee. Pivot right heel to the floor. Again, your hands are going to be perhaps in front of this front foot. Step the hands back so they're at your heel. Putting weight into your right foot, the leg behind you. Rise up onto fingertips to lift you up so you can face forward, long straight spine in this bowing position. Rooted into the floor with this left foot, strong left leg to help you hinge up. Torso facing forward with your arms straight up into the air. Hold on the exhale, Warrior One. Second variation of Warrior One. We'll inhale now. Exhale, turn your torso towards the right side of the room. Bring your arms down to parallel. We'll be in Warrior Two. Make adjustments with feet. Again, I like to turn that right foot out. Just feels better on the hip and the knee. Here's our Warrior Two. Setting up for triangle, we'll straighten the left leg. Straight as can be, nice and tall. Reach out over this left thigh, angled upper body. Yes, rotate the arms just like this. Reach high, reach low. Notice the lengthening quality, certainly not forced, however, in the left leg. A couple more breaths just to get into the sensations. We're going to come back up to Warrior Two, but start by bending the left knee so we have that same leverage, using the strength of the thigh rather than your back to come back up to Warrior Two. We're going to drop the arms, relax the shoulders. Start to turn to face forward. Just notice where you naturally stop. Again, I'm angled. Okay? So we're going to change our foot posturing. First, I'm going to bring the right foot in, significantly in. And I'm even stepping my right foot to the right side of the mat. Even angling the foot a little bit out that direction. So when I turn, I'm facing forward. Hips are square, aligned with the front edge of your mat. Straighten the legs. Arms down by your side. Ready for our pyramid pose. Breathe in. Exhale, start to hinge forward. That bowing sensation. Coming down, pause at any point. It might be here. Let the arms follow the alignment of your torso. And maybe a little bit more. This is about right for me. Something that's going to help stabilize this front leg so it doesn't feel like you're driving into the kneecap perhaps, is press more firmly into the floor with your foot. Maybe drive the heel of the foot into the floor, even the balls of the foot. It will help stabilize the whole leg in its socket here. And you might feel more stable. You might even be able to go a little lower. All right, that's our pyramid pose, our bowing position. You're going to start to rise up a little bit. Bend the left knee. Use that leverage to finish coming all the way back up. Let's take that Warrior One position by taking the arms up into the air. Exhale, fold. Carefully bring the hands down to the floor in front. You're going to reposition that back foot. So we're in a runner's lunge. Strong press of the hands into the mat so you can slide the left foot back. There's plank pose. Let's return to down dog for a moment. Bend the knees, send your hips into the air. We're going to do what we did earlier, that walk the dog. Press one heel into the floor as the other heel lifts, and then alternate. Do that a few times. Again, just getting into the calves. And then we're going to get ready for our floor work. All right, you can come to stillness here in down dog, and then come down to your knees. We'll sit back briefly in hero, then off to the side. Sitting down, swing the legs around to the front, sitting in the center of your mat. Go ahead and lie down onto your back, but be sure your blocks are handy here. Even ensure your strap is nearby so you can grab them easily. So we're in the center of the mat. Roll down if you haven't gone down already, and just bring the knees into chest. This should be a nice relaxing point as well, which is perfect. So you might just take some deep breaths, add some movement here, a little massage for the low back and hips, even get into your feet. You can even free up your hands and just circle the hands here if you'd like. So we're going to move into our bridge pose, our supported bridge pose. This is where you'll use your blocks So let's set the feet onto the floor. Perfectly fine to keep the feet wider than the hips. They don't have to be aligned at the hip bone. Make sure you got your books or blocks handy. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, empty the belly, and then lift your hips up into the air, high enough to slide your props underneath you. Then take a seat. Make sure they're in the right spot. They feel good, and you feel good. Adjusting the feet. I'm getting my arms in a good spot right here. And what's nice about using the props and sitting in this pose is that you can be here relatively relaxed. Otherwise, we'd be pressing into the floor and lifting ourselves up on our own, which takes a lot more effort. But this is a nice alternative. And although this is not a bowing position, is quite the opposite actually, since you're doing a back bend, but it has this heart opening component. And that too can have an honoring feeling, especially since the heart is opened. So this could be thought of as a way to honor someone else, a giving of yourself, a giving of your heart, okay, that good energy. So you might bring to mind someone that is alive or deceased. Maybe it's a group of people, a community. You just want to send a good vibe out to them. Let's take a couple more breaths. And when you feel complete, we're coming out of the pose, so you'll press your feet firmly into the floor. You'll feel your thighs engage, lift your hips, even feel your glutes engage a little bit there. Remember that glute activation we did in another class. And then carefully come down to the floor. Here, keep the knees bent, but just relax. Can you reach your strap? Do you have your belt or strap? So let's do a leg extension while we're lying down. Let's start by extending the left leg onto the floor. Just straighten it out onto the floor. And then you'll draw your right knee towards your chest. I'm gonna unroll my strap here and see if you can catch that strap underneath the right foot, and we'll extend the leg into the air. Don't worry if the leg doesn't go absolutely straight or it's out at an angle like that. Don't worry about it. So the knee can be bent. It might be out there in front of you. It might be straight-ish and straight up and down-ish. But wherever you are, do you notice, do you feel some lengthening quality in the leg? Hamstring especially, but you might even feel this lightly, subtly in the calf muscle. You might even flex the foot. Feel like the heel is just reaching outward, just moving away from your midline. Okay, that will activate the leg and provide a little bit more sensation. Just for added bonus, you don't have to do this since we are holding on to the strap. You can give that strap a slight tug as if you're taking the leg over your head behind you. Not literally, but that's just going in that direction. That will add a little bit more sensation. 2 more breaths. We'll bend the knee. With the bent knee, that should allow you to release the strap from the foot and then extend the leg out in front of you. Just hold here for a moment, just for a little realignment. Maybe take a breath and just sink into the ground. And then we'll do the other side. We can bend the left knee, bring it up to chest. We got that strap. Let's see if we can get it around the bottom of the foot. And then extend the leg into the air. Whatever feels right on this side. A slight bend or kind of out in front of you. This too, this certainly, you want to be very familiar and aware of what's happening in your knee joint, even the hip joint, because maybe might be too far, where the leg is straight up and down. Maybe it doesn't feel right in the pelvic bowl right there, that socket that the leg is connected to. Maybe flexing the foot once again, the heel, like it's pushing away from the body, activating the whole back side of your leg. Two more breaths. And then when we're complete, we'll bend the knee. Once again, let's release the strap from the foot. Let's set the strap to the side. Keep it handy because we will be using it again shortly. Extend the leg out front. If you want a nice full body stretch, extend the arms behind you. Feel like you're reaching in these opposite directions. We're going to come up to seated. So you might bend your knees. You can even hug the knees into chest so you can rock your way up to seated, or just roll to one side, which I'm doing, pressing into the mat to help lift into seated. Let's do a variation of boat pose. So we'll take the legs out a little bit here, keeping the heels on the floor, flexed feet. So a significant bend in the knees. Hold on to the knees with the hands. Okay, like nice handlebars here, and lift yourself up as best as you can, and you're straight up and down. Inhale to get that quality of length. Exhale, draw belly in to engage, and then as if you're in a reclining chair, just lean back a little bit. This could be the end of the pose. For me, this is about a good 55%. Well, maybe a little bit more because I'm already feeling this. This feels good. But I can go back a little bit further, just like this, for our boat pose. Holding on. I'm really holding on tightly here, just to keep yourself uplifted, even though, because we are leaning back. We want to keep the spine straight. The action really is the inhale to fill up the lungs, like it's lifting from the sternum. Exhale to pull belly in. You can still be upright a little bit more. You can even lean back a little bit more for a little bit more of a challenge. One more breath in and out. And then we'll soften just by lifting up here. Okay. Let's come to our seated forward fold. So I just scooted back a little bit, or just straighten the legs out. We're going to use that strap again. So just have it handy, actually. Just have it handy right now, because you're going to use your hands at first on the floor. Hands on the floor by your hips. Push into the floor to, again, re-extend the spine, just like we did in that boat pose. We were just holding onto the legs to help you find that spinal extension. You want the legs to be as straight as can be. Flex the feet. That will energize the legs. This is staff pose. Now, if the shoulders feel kind of forward, I'm just forcing this. If they're forward, we want to roll or pull the shoulders back. Nice long neck with the gaze forward. As we did a little earlier, you want to squeeze your shoulder blades together like we did in that back bend. Squeezing shoulder blades together, activating the upper back muscles, hands pressing into the floor to keep you straight and tall. Flexed feet, heels are driving forward. So there is an activation in the body. One inhale, one exhale to relax now. Okay, so that's staff pose. Let's take this similar sensation, but then move into our forward fold. Now you're welcome to use the strap or belt, whatever you have. Let's get the strap around both feet, like that. And then if you need to, just manipulate the size of your belt here. Just hold on to the ends. Again, a little tug will help you to sit up nice and tall. Flexed feet, straight legs. We're going to inhale. Lift up as tall as you can. Exhale, pull belly in, and another tug of the strap to draw your heart and chin forward. Now for me, this is a good sensation right here. I'm really at about a good 68 to 70%. Even here, even though it doesn't look like I went very far, but I feel this. That's mainly because the spine is straight and my legs are straight. But what you can do to go a little deeper is bend the knees a little or a lot. Lower the chin, let the back round. Doesn't compromise the pose, allows you to go a little deeper. So breathe in, feel like the torso is lifting up out of the pelvic bowl. Exhale, a little tug on the strap to drive forward. Not forcing it. I'm still at a good 70% here, even though I went deeper into the posture. But maybe come to this position because I think this will resemble part of our intention, which is that bowing feeling. So you might even lower your head. Even close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Return to your personal intention here. Be mindful of the person or persons that you are thinking about. And bring that same respect and honoring and appreciation to yourself. So many things are happening here. Physically, we have something going on for our legs, our back, our bellies. Thoughtfully, we're thinking of someone, even ourselves. And maybe a little emotion, a caring, a love. 3 more breaths. When we're complete, if the chin is dropped, let's just lift the chin, starting that re-extension of your spine. You can start to hinge your way back up. You might even straighten out the legs again. I'm going to release the strap. Come back briefly to that staff pose by bringing hands to the mat by your hips. Push down, lift up, face forward, flex feet. 2 breaths. And then soften. Let's return to cobbler's pose with that same bowing. And that's nice after this because we did those leg stretches by bending the knees and bringing the soles of the feet together. Takes that bend out of the legs, that stretch out of the legs, I should say. And you can even move your strap here. And just either grab hold of the feet or ankles or shins. Inhale for the extended spine. Exhale, lower the chin, let the back round, and another fold here. So this might change the sensation a little bit, especially in the legs, maybe through your back, maybe with the same intention, or maybe you've got a different or a new set of people that you like to dedicate this practice to. Three more breaths. And once again, if your back is rounded, lift your chin to help re-extend the spine, and then hinge your way back up nice and tall. And then we'll go ahead and make our way back down to the floor, lying on our backs. Just be sure you're in the center of your mat so you have space behind you. You can just have your props nearby, the ones that you want to use, maybe your blocks again if you'd like. Lie down, draw the knees into chest, and then some movement. This might feel good as well as a nice relief for the back body. Now, this can also be considered a forward fold, since you're just kind of hugging the knees into the body. Even though we're not extending the legs, you're in a forward fold position. So another opportunity for honoring. Maybe this is for yourself. Let's take a hip opener. Just going to hold onto the knees or shins and just take the legs wide until we get a nice gentle stretch in the inner legs here. I like to put a gentle flex in the feet here too. And just hold the legs open, not too wide, but just enough to feel that lengthening release in the inner thighs. Just hold the legs open, not too wide, but just enough to feel that lengthening release in the inner thighs. One more breath. Let's bring the knees together. Let's extend both legs into the air. We're not going to hold it very long. Just extend the legs. Just hold onto the legs with your hands. A light flex of the feet, heels reaching for the ceiling. Maybe just for 3 breaths. Just consider this an inverted posture. We're just kind of flipped upside down essentially. There is a leg extension, slight forward fold feeling. But since we did hamstrings, just think of this as more hamstring work. Then go ahead and bend the knees again, and we'll take this into a twist. We'll start by taking the knees over to the left side, extend your right arm off to the right side, and just settle into this nice rotation in the spine, which may also affect the hips, the low back area, the arm and shoulders, and some more deep breaths. Let's take 3 more breaths on this first side. When you're ready, carefully return to center. You might even hug both knees in towards chest in this neutral position for realignment. And then taking the knees carefully down to the right side. You can even use blocks right there to help support the rotation so it doesn't feel like you're over-rotating here. And then left arm, if you'd like, extending it out to the left side. Three more breaths. When you feel complete, you can return to center. One last hug. And then extend both legs out in front of you onto the ground. Arms resting down by your side, perhaps with the palms facing upward. Settle in. You might even take a nice full breath in, fill yourself up. Exhale completely as you continue to melt into the earth. Completely release as best as you can, fully relax. Eyes can remain open with a soft gaze upward, or close your eyes to move inside. The essential honoring position, honoring yourself. Even congratulating yourself for this practice, that you took the time for yourself. And now this wonderful opportunity for full release, complete relaxation, softness and stillness, meditation. So you're invited to stay here as long as you need to. Even as I end the practice and come to seated and close the class, you can stay just as you are here in Shavasana. Once again, stay here as long as you'd like. When you are ready to move, start with the movement of breath. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. As you're breathing, starting to feel movement return to your body. And then slowly and carefully roll to one side of your body. And from here, slowly rise to a seated position. Bring in something to sit on if you'd like a pillow or a blanket. Sitting up as tall as you can. And then one more movement together. We'll inhale, extend the arms out and up. And as you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart, this place of honoring self and others. Take one more breath in and out. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.